Don't look back, we're here to stay. A life we knew would come one day. And this is it, the borderline to where the future leaves us behind. The fire will burn and never die, looking through the eyes of a brand new life. And so just find me, just find me. Sparks will fly if we scream now. This is not how we're gonna go. We are the ones who'll never let go. Just watch us roll till we're no one knows. We'll never grow.
Formula 1 returns to Hungary after a one-year absence, and this race is expected to play a crucial role in the outcome of the championship battle, with some teams even sacrificing this race meeting in order to test upgrades to bring for their cars for the second half of the season. Williams confirmed that both Robbie Kubica and Josh Chiro will be running older spec car parts for this race, as BMW want to keep Column 3 and Column 4 free for their B-spec engine upgrades for the second half of the season. This was much the same at Toyota as well, with both Kobayashi and Lewis Hamilton running Column 2 parts for their AMG power units in the final race with AMG power. The rain would come out in practice too, as bet as most race would be running in wet conditions. However, if things didn't go too well for Josh Chiro as a spin into the wall, unfortunately his car would be repaired. Now taking a look at the qualifying grid for the Hungarian Grand Prix, and Jean-Eric Vergne will take his first pole position for 2017, with Pascal Wehrlein completing the front row. Sebastian Vettel early managed third on the grid, with resident pole sitter Fernando Alonso only managing fourth best in qualifying. Lewis Hamilton with an exceptional lap will line up in fifth, with Josh Chiro the lead of the Williams starting from P6. Josh Chiro's teammate Robbie Kubica will start from 7th, with Nico Hülkenberg with an impressive lap starting from 8th as the lead of the Renaults. Completing the top 10 will be Lance Stroll and Daniel Kvyat, who takes a 5-place grid penalty for a new power unit as Cosworth focus their upgrades now for the second half of the season. Max Verstappen also takes a 5-place grid drop due to also taking a new Cosworth power unit, and is joined on the 6th row by Carlos Sainz as the lead of the Toro Rossos. Pierre Gasly in the second of the Toro Rosso starts from 13th, with Daniel Ricciardo in the second of the Renaults starting from 14th. The 8th row of the grid will consist of the two McLarens, with Rio Haryanto once again getting the better of teammate Carmen Georgia in qualifying by 0.03 of a second. Kamui Kobayashi drops 10 places due to needing a new MGU-H in Toyota's final race with AMG power, and he's joined on the 9th row by Antonio Giovinazzi as the leader of the Saubers. On the back row of the grid will be Adrian Sutil, and Mick Schumacher also drops 5 places due to a new BMW power unit. Hey guys, Tara here. Welcome back to UniONE, this time round 11 for Season 4, the Hungarian Grand Prix. If you missed the race last time out of Britain, definitely going to check that one out. Some interesting strategy calls in that race. But now looking into this race, Red Bull sacrificing this race meeting, taking a brand new Cosworth power unit in preparation for their second half of the season. So Red Bull look promising, possibly for some major upgrades from Cosworth for the second half of the season. But now looking up to us, starting all the way down in P6. Once again, we had the opportunity to get ahead of both the Red Bulls, but still we get beat by Hamilton, so we could have started from 5th really, but still, hopefully we can get a good start and try and get ahead there of Hamilton. And hopefully try and keep ahead of our teammate there, Robbie Kubica. Now it's waiting for the back few cars to line up, the two Saubers, Mick Schumacher on the back row of the grid, and Schumacher's going to have his work cut out today. He's to try and score points from this race, and how hard it is to overtake round Hungary, and so it's expected to rain later in the race, that could just make it even more difficult for the young German. Now coming to the 5 red lights for the start of the Hungarian Grand Prix. Lights out and away we go. Can we get a good start this time? So once again, no, we get another shocking start Looks like Johnny Van's clear at the front there. They've got Lewis Hamilton looking to make a move 3 wide possibly. Just has to slide behind there. Just wasn't the gap in between Sebastian Vettel and Fernando Alonso. So now trying to get right through 3 wide down to turn 1 with one of the Renaults. Now Robbie Kubica, Stroll making 3 wide out. Stroll forces Robbie Kubica. They're off of the track. And the young Canadian makes a move there ahead of our teammate Robbie Kubica. Now Kubica had to go side by side with one of the Red Bulls. And how good the Red Bulls are with their aero and chassis. Should be able to try and make a move around the outside there. Robbie Kubica is going to keep it side by side. Kubica is going to try and hold it right around the outside line. He's going to keep it side by side now. You know the Red Bull has to bear down. You see with the momentum, the Red Bull trying to make a move there around the outside, coming up now into second sector. Trying to hold it right on the outside there. Robbie Kubica. He just makes the move stick there on the pole. So Kubica there with a terrible start there, getting forced off the track there by Lance Stroll. So not the best of decisions there from Lance Stroll, but at the start of the race, you will find for every bit of track position you can find. Now cutting back onto us, we've actually dropped down a position here to P7. We're currently behind Nico Hülkenberg there in the Renault. Hülkenberg had a really good qualifying, starting in P8. And we know that Renault isn't quite top 10 material, so Hülkenberg there once again forcing that Renault further up the order than what it goes. Go a bit wider off the track, getting a bit dirty on the front wing. We've got Lance Stroll behind us, but Stroll there, you can see he's on a set of medium tyres, so Stroll really shouldn't be any threat to us. And of course, since he's in the Haas anyway, he shouldn't really be trying to overtake us in the first place, even if he was going faster than us. Now coming up now towards the end of the fast now for the fast lap, we've got one of the Red Bulls here of Daniel Kvyat right behind the back there of Lance Stroll, and that's going to be BMW Power v Cosworth Power, brand new Cosworth Power unit in the back of that Red Bull. But still, have they actually brought any upgrades? They're just taking new power unit elements, so they have a 5th column of elements to use for the rest of the season. Coming into turn 1, it's like Stroll there has got the legs on the Red Bull, despite a lock up there into turn 1. That BMW Power unit still mighty fast in a straight line, just enough to keep Daniel Kvyat at bay. And then Robbie Kubica is stuck right behind both of them now there with Max Verstappen waiting just behind in case anything happens with these 3. We know how good Stroll's defensive driving can be, so we'll be putting up a pretty good fight there to Daniel Kvyat, I think. Now we're all over the back though, only a couple of again, very close to the back of the Renault there under braking. Now coming up now into the second sector, we go purple there through the first sector, which isn't really surprising since it's only the second lap of the race and everyone's going faster than what they did on the first lap. And now coming up now through this medium speed chicane. Once again, it's like we're just going to lose a bit on the traction there. The Renault with some pretty decent traction and some pretty decent top end speed, as we've seen back to Austria, where we just spent many laps stuck behind the Renault. Then see our power unit getting towards the mid part of its life. I mean, we shouldn't have any failures this race, although the MGUH does look like it could cause some problems later on in this race. And of course, we are bringing, we're going to be promised major upgrades for the second half of the season. We'll be getting a whole new B-spec car, new chassis, improved aero, and especially the main thing is a brand new BMW power unit, which will help us and Lance Stroll. Hopefully Stroll's still keeping in front there. I've done a Kvyat course through the second and third sectors, not really anywhere you can overtake. But now Kvyat, we're getting in slowly now on the back now of Lance Stroll coming down into turn 1, trying to make a move to the inside. He's had to stay behind. No, we've pushed the inside now of Lance Stroll coming down now into turn 1. Stroll trying to hold it around. Yes, I'm going to keep it side by side there with the young Russian Bull. Daniel Kvyat there on the inside line has managed to make the move stick. Now Stroll, well, the selection to try and come back. Daniel Kvyat coming now into turn 2. He's close to trying to come back at the inside. No, that's a bit of a lock up there from the car. And Stroll there with a bit of a lock up as well. Now he's got Robbie Kubica right up behind the back of him now. And surely Stroll will be told to get out of the way here of Robbie Kubica. There's really no point in Stroll holding up Robbie Kubica, and what you need to do is let Kubica pass and try and hold up Max Verstappen as much as possible. We're coming through the second sector, it's almost like Stroll's really getting out of the way. And I'm cutting quite a bit further on there, all the way onto lap 6. Nothing's really much happened. We're still stuck behind Nico Hülkenberg in the Renault, and this has meant that Daniel Kvyat's now caught right onto the back of us. We're coming through the second sector. We just lose a bit of time there to back of Hülkenberg, but you can see Daniel Kvyat all in our mirrors, sticking to the back of us like glue. That Renault in front really causing a lot of dirty air, and we're really not able to put the power down as much as we want. Because now this Williams has been designed to work in clean air, pretty much like the Mercedes in real life, just doesn't work in the dirty air of the cars. But Daniel Kvyat in that Red Bull, we know that Red Bull is designed to work better in dirty air than what our Williams is. So Kvyat they're sticking right behind us now, coming up now through the final corner. We have DRS now on the back of Nico Hülkenberg with BMW Power v Renault Power, but I don't know what power unit elements that Renault is running. But so we are gaining now in the DRS, playing quite a bit now in the slipstream, coming in now to turn 1. We can try and make a dive with the inside. We fake a move there to the inside. We're just not quite close enough there to make a move up the inside there of Nico Hülkenberg. Because we had DRS on the back of the Renault, that's just enough to keep Daniel Kvyat at bay and the Red Bull behind. Because that Red Bull is still significantly down on straight line speed. And I think only the Honda power units are the only ones that are actually slower at this point in the season than the Cosworth power units. Because the Renault, although it doesn't have the best aero and chassis in the world, are just pure power unit. They do seem to have a bit more grunt than the Cosworth powers Red Bulls, and easily over the Saubers. But I think the Saubers just prove how slow the Cosworth power unit really is, albeit they don't have all the little tricks up their sleeves that what Red Bull do to get the most out of their pilots, maybe some engine mapping that Cosworth keeps exclusively for Red Bull. Now coming through the second sector once again, still having to stick behind the radar there of Nico Hulkenberg. Daniel Kvyat sticking to the back looks likely that Red Bull pretty much on rails, you'd expect. This will be one of the Red Bull's best races on the calendar. Apart from this, only Singapore, I'd say, really, is there any realistic opportunity to want to try and take a victory, unless they bring some mega upgrades and somehow manage to blast past everyone else in a straight line. Because the chassis and aero is there. They've got the best chassis and aero, as everyone would expect, but it's just that Cosworth it really just let them down. But now, once again, we'll have DRS now on the back of Nico Hulkenberg coming down now into turn 1. We'll be close enough. We did look closer this time to Nico Hulkenberg and Daniel Kvyat right up behind us, so we could possibly make it 3 wide coming down into turn 1. Now got the DRS, now got the inside down. Nico Hulkenberg on turn 1. Kvyat there looking all over the back of us there, but that's the tuck back into slipstream there behind Nico Hulkenberg in there right now. Now giving it side by side. With Nico Hulkenberg, we get to make the moves that stick there. On the German now, Hulkenberg has to go around the outside now. I don't know if the huge lock of their forces Nico Hulkenberg off of the track. He slams on the brakes please. Now can Hulkenberg trying to hold it back right around the outside. Can have the inside line. That's kind of Hulkenberg, but Hulkenberg there has to concede and slot in there behind Daniel Kvyat. So Kvyat there with a very forceful move there to make his way past the runner, but can't say I blame him really. But now cutting onto the end of that lap, Daniel Kvyat run back. We see that how much closer to the apex Daniel Kvyat is able to keep running that final corner. It's proving how much better how much better aero and chassis that Red Bull has. And now Kvyat now trying to make a move to our inside coming down to turn 1. We'll try holding now around the outside there off Daniel Kvyat, and the Red Bull is to keep it side by side there round turn 1. You see we've got one of the Toyotas up in front there of Lewis Hamilton, and that's going to be a drag race now down into turn 2. Kvyat let's make moves inside. We can try and make a move back up the inside of him coming down to turn 2. We're just not quite close enough there to the back off Daniel Kvyat. But now once again just trying to find a way around the outside there, but that really just ends up working against us, and we lose out quite a bit of time there. See, we're losing quite a bit of time there to the back. I don't know if Kvyat getting the better momentum there. See, there's not sure they're waving the green flags, so possibly a minute move into there. We can see there green flags going on now through the second part of the second sector. But it looks like whatever the issue was has now been cleared. There's still got actually 18 cars in the race, so possibly someone retired there from the race. I mean, we're on 9 laps and we've already lost 2 cars. Well, they didn't last very long in this race, really, did they? After 9 laps, I mean, you know, the reliability on mainly with these all-new 2-litre V6 hybrids, the reliability has been pretty decent, assuming it's the first season with brand new power units. The thing is, as the season goes on reliability just slowly decreasing more and more with the power unit elements getting more and more one. Of course, we're only designated 4 parts of each power unit part before you take a penalty for taking a 5th element onwards. Now coming into the pits, actually, see how much Daniel Kvyat's already pulled away from us. But now we're coming into the pits for our first stop of the race. And we're going on to another set of the super soft tyres, and I think that Daniel Kvyat will be doing the same things. We'll see there Robert Kubica and the rest of the midfielders staying out for another lap, of course, still on a double stack when there's no reason behind your teammate in the pit lane, especially when it's on dry tyres. Now coming in there, if we get a good pit stop here from Williams, they've actually been held up there, that probably for Daniel Kvyat. I mean, I think Daniel Kvyat was the only other car I saw in the pit lane, so Daniel Kvyat there does come out in front of us. Looks like it's going to be a pretty lonely track that we rejoin on. They actually got one of the runners there, Hulkenberg, so Hulkenberg's coming to the pits on this lap as well. Now then coming back out now into turn 1. Don't really like there's anyone near us. Actually, as I say that, we've got the 2 Saubers there right up behind us. Didn't see them, but that's crucial there. They came out there in front of the 2 Saubers. We know how slow the Saubers really are on the track. This track really not suiting the Saubers car really. Well, honestly, no tracks suit the Sauber with how little airflow they have on their car. But you say the straight line speed trucks like Monza, anything power related, is their best chance of scoring points, because they're still, I believe, pointless at this point in the season. So pretty much, yeah, a pointless season there for Sauber, and also you could say in both specs as well, just for points and for their general car as well. You're so much slower than everything else. I mean, there are times that McLaren have out-qualified them, but it just doesn't look like the McLarens have the race pace outright. We're on this track, a slow speed track where power units aren't really that important. It's all down to chassis and aero. But now we've got tucking of the McLarens, we've got Daniel Kvyat and making a move to the inside there of one of the McLarens coming up now into the third sector. He makes the move there around the inside there of Carmen Jordan there. Of course, Jordan will stay with medium tyres. I mean, that McLaren's slow enough with being on the fast tyres. So he put one of the slowest cars on the slowest tyre, and there's pretty much no chance here of Carmen Jordan's famous. You see already all over the back there of that McLaren's really diffuser. But now we'll have DRS on the slipstream now on the back of Carmen Jordan. I'm going to make a move there to the inside, because Jordan still has DRS off the car of Daniel Kvyat in front, but it's this thing that makes no difference there whatsoever, and we breeze past the McLaren there in a straight line, almost like it's not even there. And now we've got Carmen Jordan who has come out there in front of Robert Kubica. Of course, Kubica will now should be able to make an easy move past Carmen Jordan as well when he catches up to the back of the McLaren, which shouldn't take too long, so it should probably in a lap or two to make some move down Kubica. See, the Kubica now is the car behind us now. Can move head on. You see now it is raining actually, so the rain is coming down now. The rain was expected in this race, and we saw from practice we had a coming around this corner exactly as though we got beyond the curb and lost it completely. But thankfully that was an FP2, so there's enough time to fix our car before the race. Now, just like there, one of the Hasses there just goes completely straight on into the right-hander there. And that allows Daniel Kvyat to get past now all over the back now of the Haas. And of course, like we know the Haas BMW B team that surely they've been instructed to not hold me up. But we should be able to make a move anyway in a straight line if the Haas just lets off the power slide. You're trying to go around the outside there of the Haas around the final corner, but just haven't got enough downforce on the car to hold it around on the outside. Now getting into the station now, going to pull to the inside now. Oh, the Haas coming down to turn 1, it's going to be side by side now, coming down to turn 1. See the Haas with some pretty decent top end speed. Of course, they're pretty much a low drag Williams, so they will have more straight line speed, but less traction out of the corners. And then you make the move on the Haas. Thankfully, they don't put up a fight to us, so good driving there from Mick Schumacher, I think that was. So Schumacher there finally is learning, finally getting some skills, developing in this season. I mean, the first race, the nightmare race, took us out in the pit lane, but he's just been building his pace race by race, and honestly, isn't that far off the pace now of Lawrence Stroll? And Stroll, once again, had a pretty difficult start to his F1 career, so the BMW drivers, they're getting there, the BMW young drivers, so hopefully in a few races' time there'll be decent top 10 challenges up there with the two Toyotas. Of course, the Toyotas bringing their power unit for the next race, so Toyota could be a real unknown for the second half of the season, because when Toyota were in Formula 1 previously, the power units in pure straight line speed weren't the best, and you saw they're now coming in for intermediate tyres at the end of this lap, because Jeff there, our engineer, calling us in for a set of intermediate tyres, so going to go on intermediates and then another set of intermediates later on if the rain doesn't get too much heavier to warrant a set of wet tyres. So it should be a 2-stop from here, albeit, well, if we need wet tyres, there'll still be a 2-stop from here anyway, regardless of what tyres we're on. Now coming into the pit, so it's like one of the Toyotas down in front is actually staying out for another lap. So Toyota clearly don't feel that it's time yet for intermediate tyres. Could that be a crucial mistake there from the Japanese team? Because they're back in Formula 1, I don't know how many of the Force India staff they kept on, so that could be an all-new team, an all-new strategy department, and they've got to relearn Formula 1 once again. Now coming in now for a set of intermediate tyres, we're going to get held up in the pits this time. We do get held up actually for one of the Ferraris. What? How is their Ferrari this far down? See that? One of the Ferraris are right in front of us, so do they have some kind of stop-go penalty? They must have had a 5-second stop-go or something, but I thought that Red Bull there, actually one of the Red Bulls there, Daniel Kvyat going in front there of Sebastian Vettel, so I thought Vettel would have been easily 5 seconds in front of us, so I see that a front wing change or something. Something has gone terribly wrong there for Ferrari in our pit stop, and now let's put the 5-time world champion Sebastian Vettel now behind Daniel Kvyat. We know the Red Bull in the wet is in its absolute prime, so it's not going to be very easy for Sebastian Vettel or anyone else to make a move there past the young Russian. Hopefully now with the wet conditions seen from last season, we are pretty decent in the wet conditions, really can outperform what this Williams is capable of. And see there already getting on the back there of Sebastian Vettel. Of course our tyres are still cold, so maybe the Ferrari warms up his tyres differently, because we either don't look very different, and that Ferrari is very much a completely different car to what our BMW Williams is. Now coming on now to his sector, getting quite a bit down to braking. We do go pretty late on the brakes compared to everyone else who's got the confidence there, albeit the Williams brakes aren't the best brakes in the world, since we do use the same brakes as what Haas do. So the Haas, we design, of course the Haas just get our BMW power unit, but we get the brakes from Carbon Industry, which is the same company that Haas has supplied brakes to as well. Now coming into the pits now is Robbie Kubica. So Kubica's there, staying out for an extra lap. So Williams once again, much like Toyota, thinking that he could stay out for an extra lap there on a set of the dry tyres. And I don't think that's going to work out there for Robbie Kubica. Now coming in now for a set of the intermediate tyres. Looks like he's the only one there in the pit lane, albeit from that Toyota, which should come into the pits on this lap as well. But now let's see, we're coming out of the pit lane now. Is he going to rejoin any traffic? Whereabouts is Robbie Kubica going to rejoin? I can't quite see anyone there. Doesn't look like he's going to come out in a pretty lonely track there. They've got two cars there, just a bit behind him, but coming into town. Actually got Max Verstappen. Verstappen there a long way down. I know Verstappen wasn't particularly anywhere close to the back of Daniel Kvyat, so I think Verstappen came in a lap before, so Verstappen there with some nightmare pace in this race. Probably has got some car issues. Remember back to the first race in Australia, with Verstappen there having some nightmare issues, finishing about 3 laps down, I think it was, with some terrible issues there with his Cosworth power unit. But now come back and do us onto lap 17, lap 18 now, so at the halfway stage now of this Grand Prix, there's cut up to this right train of cars now with Vettel, Daniel Kvyat and a few cars in front leading this train round. Of course we're stuck in the train, we've actually got Lewis Hamilton now in the Toyota behind us, so Hamilton there, possibly that Toyota to stay there for an extra lap. But I thought it would have been Kobayashi to stay there for an extra lap, so even Kobayashi was the one that started a long way down. So and Vettel there, let's go straight on there into turn 2, locks up horribly. Now he made the move there past the 5-time world champion Sebastian Vettel. Once again, we've seen it before. Vettel really just cracking under pressure. We know that Verne has a mighty championship lead, so maybe Vettel there is feeling the pressure of once again. I think this will be the first time they've actually been beaten by a teammate outright, if you don't count his BMW race in 2007 where he had one race. So every full time he's had a season, every time so far he's beat his teammates outright in the championship season. So Vettel there possibly feeling the pressure of being beat there by Jean-Eric Verne. Now coming up now through the sector, right behind the back now are the Toro Rosso of Carlos Sainz. We know how difficult Carlos Sainz is to overtake in that Toro Rosso, possible mighty defence move back to Austria, where we just spent the time in the last few laps finding any way trying to get past the Toro Rosso, which we just couldn't find one. Now roll it back now on the Toro Rosso. Carlos Sainz goes side by side with Carlos Sainz. Sainz just falls us off the track. We're sliding on the grass. They're going to hold it back on the track. We get it back on the track. Now it's Ferrari. Sebastian Vettel looking on the inside there of Carlos Sainz. And now we've got Lewis Hamilton in the Toyota trying to make a move around the outside of Carlos Sainz. Now coming up now around the final corner. Getting the Toyota hold it around the outside. Has Hamilton got the downforce there in that Toyota? Doesn't look like he quite has. Now he has to slot back in there behind Carlos Sainz. Sainz there forcing off of the track. Why does Sainz hate the Williams? What have we done to Carlos Sainz to warrant him to force off the track? Remember back to Monaco with Sainz weaving dangerously in front there of Sebastian Buemi was trying to lap him. Once again, Sainz just has some kind of vendetta out for us Williams, and we know he's already had a 1 race ban for dangerous driving, so he needs to play it safe here, otherwise he could face further penalties and further to nearing there from the shoes. Now going side by side with Lewis Hamilton trying to around the outside there, or the Toyota taking me side by side now. Looks like Hamilton with the momentum on the inside line is going to get a position back now, coming up now into the second sector. Is going to get in front of there, and Hamilton there just about getting back in front of us there. Now we've got Mick Schumacher in the Haas catching up right behind us. So now we drop down to P11 there off P18. So 18 cars still getting straight, and we're still thankfully in the points position thanks to the top 12 point system. It's not all lost, but Sainz there really should have to go and face the shooters. I mean, imagine the Williams teams are screaming at Charlie now for what he just did to us once again. And you see there, we're on the inside line, we're more than halfway alongside, and Sainz just insisted on forcing us off of the track. But thankfully, we're going at a slower speed, so we're just about able there to control the car. You see that Hamilton now is actually pulling away from us a little, so Hamilton and they're possibly running enriched mates in that AMG Pioneer, because you can use all the life out of that AMG engine that he wants, because he's not going to have an AMG engine in the back of that Toyota ever again. If Toyota finally they've brought forward their plans, because their original plans they've stated was to wait until next season and finish out what was Force India's contract with AMG, but they've paid off the extra money. That's like Toyota are now going to bring their power unit for the second half of the season. So yeah, Hamilton really pulling away from us. Now we are getting quite a bit in the solution, of course, with just our general straight line speed advantage over everyone else on the grid. Look down this time, we see there, getting quite a bit under braking, and we're nowhere near close enough making a move on the back there of Lewis Hamilton. Now cutting a bit further on, taking a look at the running order, and to little surprise, Jean-Eric Verne's leading yet another Grand Prix, with Fernando Alonso there trying to chase him down in second. So good pace there from Mercedes. Mercedes haven't had the best of times around the circuit in the past. And they've actually got Lance Stroll in the Haas in a brilliant P3 currently, trying to hold out for the rest of the race. Then we have Pierre Gasly as the lead of the Toro Rosso there in fourth. So all the fast cars that started on slower tyres really have found themselves actually not making a stop before the start of the race. Then you have Daniel Kvyat there in fifth, and then we have Kamui Kobayashi all the way up into sixth now, followed there by Daniel Ricciardo as the lead of the Renault, trying to catch up there to the back of the Toyota. Then we have Sebastian Vettel there, now freed up to try and attack the slower cars in front. Then we have Carlos Sainz, who doesn't look like he's forced any off the track at this point. And then we have Lewis Hamilton there riding off the top 10 in the second Toyota, and then there's us there in 11th, getting right up behind the back now of the 2008 World Champion. So actually quite a bit closer than we were previously. So now coming try and make a move on the back of Hamilton, coming down his tail, because Hamilton will have the station, of course, no DRS in the wet conditions. But we either have the faster go, but Hamilton starts associating with the back there of the Toro Rosso in front, now coming down into tail one. We're just not quite close enough there to the back. Or Lewis Hamilton seems to try and make a move there. So once again, faking a move there to inside, trying anything to put off Lewis Hamilton, but this kind of move is really not going to work in. Now coming down into turn, so we're close to trying to make a move there to inside of Hamilton. But once again, Hamilton just a bit too far in front, coming into the braking, so we have to slot in there behind the 2008 World Champion. Then we have Mick Schumacher riding with the points positions there in 12th, with Robbie Kubica now catching up to the back there of the young German. And I imagine that Schumacher won't make it too difficult for Kubica there to get past. Then we have Carmen Jordan, just pretty much in a world of her own, just outside the points positions in the McLaren Honda. Then we have Max Verstappen, now behind Carmen Jordan, and also Verstappen there with some nightmare issues it seems with that Red Bull. Now he's got Nico Hulkenberg in the runner there right behind him, so Hulkenberg there must have had some kind of disaster as well, because Hulkenberg starting in P8 was up in 7th at one point ahead of us, so Hulkenberg there with a nightmare strategy it seems. And then we had the lead of the Saubers not too far behind. I think that's Giovinazzi, and that is indeed Antonio Giovinazzi there in the Sauber. And then we've got Marcus, we've got Adrian Sutter there right at the back of the grid now, way behind everyone else, and it's pretty much in a no man's land of his own as well. Now moving on now to the end of lap 23. It's now time for us to go into the pits at the end of this lap. Just going to tell our pit crew there that we are coming into the pits now at the end of this lap. I think one of the cars in front there stays out once again for another lap. Now going to be able to run a bit wide, they get a bit of understeer because with the tightness of the pit lane entry. Coming in there behind Lewis Hamilton, it's like Schumacher and QS of course will stay out there for another lap, and they just go past us now. Now we're going to be a pit lane battle now, try and get in front of a few cars. Once again, the two Ferraris there in the pit lane. And Hamilton they're getting his pissed off just in front of us. Well, see there the Ferrari goes. I mean, they've been held up for someone there, but it's only been held there for Hamilton. Of course, we came pissed behind Hamilton. We've actually got ahead there of Carlos Sainz. So Sainz there with a terrible pit stop there from Toro Rosso. So honestly, I'd have to say that's karma, unless Toro Rosso were instructed to let me back past. But either way, we've got back in front now of Carlos Sainz, and now Sainz hopefully shouldn't be any danger unless he completely torpedoes us into one of the corners, but Sainz there thankfully shouldn't be an issue now for the rest of the race. Now moving on to the end of the next lap, and now we've got Robbie Kubica coming in there right behind the Haas there of Mick Schumacher. So Kubica has managed to make the move on track past the Haas there of Mick Schumacher, which is the B team for BMW. So I imagine the Haas actually might hold Schumacher here in the pit box to let Kubica go through. So we need a good pit stop here from Williams, and it's like Kubica there has got a good pit stop there from the Williams team, and we've got Schumacher that's actually been held there. You've seen he was held there. Has Kubica made a move in front there, and Kubica has gone in front there of Mick Schumacher. So good strategy call there from Haas to let the bigger team Williams go through. Robert Kubica there comes out just behind one of the Toro Rossos, so that must be Carlos Sainz as well. So Kubica there lost quite a bit of time there in that one lap, stuck behind the Haas there of Mick Schumacher. Knocked back into us now on lap 26, so still quite some way left to go in this race. Try and keep it to the back now of Lewis Hamilton here in the Toyota, but it seems Hamilton there with some we know how Hamilton has got some great pace in the wet conditions, but we've got pretty much the same as well, and we do have the general faster car than that Toyota. We're coming up through the second, so once again in the wet it's just going to be even more difficult now to overtake with the car, because DRS was pretty much the way you overtake, but now it's just going to be down to pure slipstream unless Hamilton makes a mistake and locks up into one of the corners like Sebastian Vettel did about 10 laps ago. And I really haven't seen Sebastian Vettel since then. So Vettel looks like he really has dropped off the pace since he managed to get past us. And they're coming up now through the second sector, so I'm still behind us. It's taking pretty close in. They're coming up now into the braking zone and starting out of the third sector. No dramas coming into there. We're still gaining under braking there on the back of Lewis Hamilton. We're just not able close enough there to make anything of it. Unless of course we managed to get DRS, and of course there'll be no DRS, we just have the slipstream now on the back of Lewis Hamilton. Now coming down into turn 1, see getting quite a bit on the brake once again, just going so late on the brakes. Thankfully no actually have to hit into the back of anyone yet with how late we do go on the brakes. But now we have the slipstream now on the back of Lewis Hamilton, getting pretty close there to the behind the back there of that pink Toyota, coming down now into turn 1, trying to make a move there all inside. Hamilton gets behind the curb and they locks up, runs out wide. Hamilton putting a wheel down the curb, makes a mistake, tries to force himself back on the inside, but he managed to make the move there in front of Lewis Hamilton there in the Toyota. Hamilton then making a mistake, putting a wheel there on the curbing on the white line. That's really not something you want to do if you want to try and stop your car for the corner. And now we're making the move there in front of Lewis Hamilton. We're now moving all the way on now onto lap 33, so only 2 laps and a corner left to go in this race. And I've caught up to the back now of Sebastian Vettel. So Vettel there really hasn't managed to make any progress after getting past Carlos Sainz and myself. He's all over the back here of what I think is possibly one of the Toyotas in front now to come on to lap 34 or 35, so only 2 laps left to go in this race. So we know that Toyota is fast in a straight line with that energy power in it and the low drag setup. Of course, trying to maximise what they can to try and close the points gap to the car in front, to try and solidify a solid position on Toyota's return back to Formula 1. When I'm coming up now 3 seconds, Vettel there doesn't lock up thankfully, so you've got one of the lap cars there, one of the Saubers there, Adrian Sutter up in front of us, and hopefully Sutter then gets out of the way cleanly, so you can try and make a good move there and show hopefully Sutter there doesn't infect the championship, the battle here in this race. Now Kubica there all over the back there of the Saubers to completely lock up there, runs out wide, but thankfully he managed to make the move there past Adrian Sutter there. Kirby actually keeps in front there of Adrian Sutter, and thankfully for him, crucially for him, keeps in front there off Sebastian Vettel, and Hamilton there has managed to make the move past Adrian Sutil as well. You need to see how slow Kobayashi is going here, just trying to keep it in front of Sebastian Vettel. Once again, coming through the second and third sector, I actually get a mega run out of the corner before. There's just no way you can overtake. If it stays like this, then Kobayashi should be on for a brilliant P6 position after starting down in 16th, 17th, somewhere around there. You can see our podium now getting really warm. You see there, our MGUH now reaching the orange wear, but it's only about 75-76% wear, so we've got one more lap left to go, and we never have to use that MGUH ever again. So if we can just hold out for one lap, we know BMW reliability has been pretty decent, with the Williams at least, not so much in the Haas. We're in the Williams, they've been pretty decent, so hopefully we've just got one more lap to go to try and make this engine last, then we never have to use it ever again. Got on a brand new bespoke BMW M Sport 4H B-spec power unit for the second half of the season. Now coming down this turn one, getting a position there on the back. Sebastian Vettel there, just getting a position on the back of Kobayashi in front. There's just nothing they can do. Although Vettel there does run out a bit wide, that gives an opportunity, but now looking to Jean-Eric Vergne. He now comes around the final corner, and Vergne there is going to win the Hungarian Grand Prix and extend his already mighty championship lead. You see there, Vettel, you see there, the Vergne wasn't actually too far off lapping us. He's got a few cars in front there. He's got Kobayashi, our teammate Robert Kubica in front of him there, so Kubica there, not too far off a lap down. So mighty pace there from Jean-Eric Vergne there in that Ferrari. Now coming back into us now through the second sector. Got half a lap left to go to try and make a move on Sebastian Vettel, and for Vettel to try and make a move on Kobayashi. Or for us to still stick, and we got Hamilton there right behind us. Of course, we can't just focus on attacking Sebastian Vettel. We could try and make a move on Vettel, which doesn't work out, and that could allow Sebastian Vettel to keep away from in front of us there and allow Lewis Hamilton. And the try to keep just forcing our car around the second sector. Of course, we're just going past where we spun out there in practice too. We're not coming now into the second sector. We didn't get a better run there, so that was pretty much nullified any chance for us trying to get past Sebastian Vettel. Vettel hasn't managed to make a move past the Toyota of Kobayashi either. And they're coming around and found a few corners. They're trying to find a way around the outside. They're trying to find any line. Trying to find a way around the outside there of Sebastian Vettel, but they're coming around the final corner just too far behind, trying to make a move there under braking on the back of the 5-time world champion. They're coming on to straight now for the final time. Coming up to the finish line. Now we're going to finish in a rather disappointing P8, honestly, seeing because I had so much more. It could have been there in P5 with the pace that we had, with our car that we had in this race. But there you can see Arriva Bene once again looking very happy there with yet another victory for Jean-Eric Vergne. And Vergne really just stomping his authority on this championship. Mega drive there from Jean-Eric Vergne. And everyone else, the Mercedes, BMW, Red Bull, everyone's got a lot of work to do to try and stop Ferrari's championship charge in both for Vergne, the constructors, and the drivers' championship as well. Taking a look at the race results, Jean-Eric Vergne take yet another victory in this season. 7 seconds clear Fernando Alonso in second for Mercedes, and Lance Stroll in the Haas gets a brilliant podium there for himself, his best result in Formula 1 and Haas's best result of the season so far. And last time Haas finished on the podium was in the season finale, Brazil, going back to last season, 2016, season 3. It's been a long time coming, but Haas finally stepped back on the podium. Daniel Kvyat there comes home in fourth there, 4 tenths behind Lance Stroll. So Stroll there with some mighty pace, using that BMW paint to his advantage to keep in front there of the Red Bull. Pierre Gasly comes home in 6th there in the Toro Rosso, so I imagine at some point Toro Rosso told Gasly to get out of the way there off Daniel Kvyat, but Kvyat there couldn't make the most of the opportunity. Kobayashi comes home in a brilliant P6 there after starting from 17th on the grid to come in with the lead of the Toyotas, with Sebastian Vettel in 8th. We finish in 8th with Lewis Hamilton there in 9th, and Daniel Ricciardo running off the top 10, with Kubica in 11th and Schumacher running off the point scorers in 12th and was the last car on the lead lap. Carmen Jordan unfortunately just misses out on points there for McLaren in 13th, with Nico Hülkenberg in 14th and the second of the Renaults. And she's going in front there of Max Verstappen, so nightmare race there for the young Dutchman there in the Red Bull. Giovinazzi comes home in 16th as the leader of the Saubers, with Adrian Sutil the last of the finishers in 17th, and Pascal Wehrlein DNF'd the Grand Prix along with Rio Haryanto there, and Carlos Sainz actually got disqualified. So imagine that's for him pushing me off the tracks there. So the stewards once again taking a dim view of Sainz's driving in this season. Moving on to the driver standings, and now Jean-Eric Vergne has a 48-point lead over his nearest rival, which is still Sebastian Vettel, with Fernando Alonso now getting up into third now in the championship standings, now 12 points behind Vettel, and 3 race wins now offered the lead of Jean-Eric Vergne. Vergne now dropped down to 4th after a DNF on 100 points, and we dropped down to 5th on 94, only 6 points behind Pascal Wehrlein. Daniel Kvyat remains in 6th, he's on 88 points, 17 points clear of his teammate Max Verstappen, is on 71. Another brilliant result, Lance Stroll now moved up into 8th in the driver standings on 54 points, 5 points clear now of Lewis Hamilton, he's now 3 points clear of Robert Kubica. Sebastian Buemi is in 11th with 33 points, with Nico Hülkenberg running off the top 12 on 21. Kobayashi now moves up into 13th, also on 21 points, but on better result. Nico Hülkenberg has that 12th place position. Esteban Ocon drops down to 14th with 18 points, only 1 point clear now of Pierre Gasly, Carlos Sainz, and actually Daniel Ricciardo, so close fight there for the bottom half of the positions from 12th downwards. Mick Schumacher's in 18th on 8 points, with Carmen Jorda in 19th with 1, and Maria Arianto rounding off the point scorers in the second of the McLarens. So it's just Giovinazzi in 21st, Adrian Sutil and Nico Carey in 23rd, rounding off the drivers with 0 points. Moving on to the constructors standings, and Ferrari now 74 points clear of Mercedes, who are in second. Red Bull hold on to third, and they're now 15 points clear of Williams, who are in fourth, with Haas there just about holding on to P5 there, 3 points clear of Toyota. Then we have Renault in 7th on 38 points, now 50 points behind Toyota. We have Toro Rosso in 8th, only 4 points behind Renault now, with McLaren Honda in 9th on 2 points, and Sauber in 10th, still yet to score. For my driver of the day for this race, honestly, it's between Lance Stroll and Kobayashi, I'd have to say, because Stroll there, the brilliant drive to get a podium position, but Kobayashi there starting from 17th and finishing in 6th, they're getting 9 positions. So honestly, I'd probably have to say, I want to say Stroll for driver of the day for me. They're taking a brilliant podium position, finally getting some confidence, getting some good pace out of that car. Also, I want to say now, for the second half of the season, so round 12 onwards, there's going to be 2 weeks in between each episode, so getting some more development time for the teams, and so we've got the summer break now, and getting more development time in between each race, 2 weeks between each race. Hopefully that can try and spice up the championship battle and give the teams more time to come up with more R&D parts and try and close the gap and make the championship much more competitive. So that's been the Hungarian Grand Prix. Thanks for watching. Remember to leave a like if you've enjoyed the race, leave a comment down below. Subscribe if you're new, vote for your driver of the day with the poll link that'll be in the video description or the one in the comment section. It's the same one either way, so just click either one of them to vote for your driver of the day. Also check out the Wikia page, which will also be in the second line of the description. And that's got all the news, results, everything on the past seasons, so season 1 up until now, and anything from this season, and a sneak peek of what's to come in the future. So again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.